Ret to go. Ret to go.
All right, well, we're already recording. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Natives in America podcast. This is your host, Benjamin Juan, and my co-host, as always with me, is Sky Anto.
What's up?
Tonight, I'm going to jump right into it. We're talking about old jobs. And this could mean quite a few things, actually, for us, but I'm getting obsessed with the sound here. I'm hearing some weird, random sound in the background.
Man, I think that... I'll stay still, because I was touching the...
Can you hear it? I never know, man. I never know.
Well, so my headphones are noise canceling, so
Ooh.
I don't hear the sounds I'm making outside of that. So sometimes I'm like not rambling, but I'm turning on my computer screen so I don't have to unlock it, or I'm looking up something.
Yeah.
So I don't know how loud that is. It might be really loud on your end.
Sometimes when you're moving the papers on your desk, it sounds like you're doing some small logging work, or like you're, breaking down cardboard or something. Like you're, you're chopping some wood. It just sounds really loud. Well, you got your fancy headphones tonight. I'm trying something new. I got my son in the same room, but he's wearing the only good pair of headphones I have right now so I don't have to hear what he's watching. And and I got freaking like 99-cent store headphones in my ears. So all these weird little sounds, I'm like, is this these crappy headphones, or do we got some kind of buzz going on here? Okay.
Probably both.
Probably a little bit of both. Every single time, man. There's some mystery sound driving me crazy. All right, so old jobs.
Yes.
When we say old jobs, are we saying like the originals, like not what you're doing today, but maybe like back in Tempe or something like that?
No. I mean just the whole timeline of working and having a job.
That's
maybe
interesting.
Maybe not always like an official job, maybe under the table, or part-time. Well, I don't know, like we're not young calves anymore. We're not. We've kind of went through some jobs, so
yeah.
I thought this would be a cool reflection on just times working. So might not even mention what job it was, but I was just thinking of times like when maybe you're not goofing around, but you're having maybe a little too much fun, or there's some type of extracurricular activity besides the work, but yet that still makes the job rewarding. Does anything like that come to mind in your?
I've got a couple here. One. The first one that came to mind was at my last job, and I want to say because of my work ethic, like they see me work, they see the results of my work. I was asked to join like this overnight team that would be rearranging the store. I want to say they called it a P90 group or something like that, and I think all that was the classification on our payroll, and they changed how much we were making. And I got like every week or whatever, they brought in a group of people who were like just job seeking. I didn't know it like in the beginning. I thought they were like this hardcore execution team that comes through, because those types of stores do that. But like they were people that were like day laborers, and like they were all like, you know, some of them were fighting with each other, and I was like, oh, they know each other so well that they just talk to each other like this. Turns out, you know, one of the guys who actually became my friend, like he has no filter. Like if something's fucked up, he'll call somebody out on it, and he was calling like one of the managers on like nah, that's stupid. Nah, you're like, why are you being like that? And then like the guy started trying to yell at him, and he's just like, oh yeah, well maybe you should drink a little less. I can smell all the beer in your breath or some shit like that. I was like, damn. We all just kind of like rolled our eyes like, damn. But this guy, like, he's one of those dudes where like, you know, there's nothing off limits. So like the whole time he kind of stuck by me, and cause I don't know what it was about me, but he liked talk. Maybe it's cause I laughed at his jokes or something, but like, and then there was another guy that became my buddy. I think he was already working for Lowe's, or he was on this team, and then they hired him after. But he was like the manager, the honcho. He had to organize the whole thing, and he became my friend too. Like, but like it was like a bunch of hard workers, half mixed with a bunch of people that stand around and watch you work. So like as a core group of hard workers, I think that's kind of why we became friends. Because even though he talked all this shit like the whole time, I was cracking jokes, like he was a hard worker, and both of them were these guys. And so while we were climbing around tearing, you know, we would take all the product off the shelf and then start tearing down the framework and rearranging them, like rearranging aisles, switching stuff here and there. It was a lot of hard work, and you kind of had to pay attention, but like I could laugh the whole time, you know. And I didn't have the usual. It was like a break from my usual work. Like my work was constant. It was the same job every time I came in. Find the mess, fix it, find the emptiness on the shelf, fill it, and then like, you know, bring stuff out of the overhead and put stuff up. You know, anything that's too bulky and doesn't have a place has to go up, and all of this has to happen before the store opens. So it's like my job was pretty constant up to that point and consistent, and then when they asked me to join this team, I was like, it was like a break from my work, and it was something completely different and new. You know, there's a little bit of danger to it and excitement, and then, you know, I was basically working with people who would become my friends. And it was like, man, this is pretty badass. Like, I always liked something like that, where you do a special project and you're taking off of your normal work, and you get to just try something new. And I think for everybody, whether you're, you know, I don't care what job you have, it's really nice to mix it up sometimes. You know, keep things fresh, or like we said in previous episodes, move the cheese.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah. What about you?
I feel like I told this story before, but
you might have.
I'm gonna retell it because
it fits.
No, I don't think it. Yeah, I mean, it's such a. I don't know. There was a lot to it, but it was all kind of. I mean, it's not so much I was slacking on the job, but it was just there are times when it was down, and we had time to do other things, but. It wasn't like an everyday thing. It was also very like on certain days where we can do this. But and then it's also like the combination, kind of what you're talking about, where you meet new people, or maybe you're kind of led into a circle, or someone's kind of letting their guard down and it's kind of showing you around, and it was a sort of like a bonding moment I had when I worked at this Japanese. It was like kind of like a fast food Japanese place, and but all the kitchen staff were, I mean most of them were Mexican, and they spoke little English, broken English, but like the supervisors would know Spanish and stuff, so like they could communicate. But me, my Spanish is very low, so I was kind of at I wouldn't say disadvantage, but it was just I couldn't bond instantly. Like
that's interesting, a language barrier.
Yeah, and so the cook and one of the other supervisors that wasn't really always there, he was just there on certain days.
Yeah.
They were like already cool with each other, and Felipe and Mario, they were already cool, but it was like they didn't always work together. It was always like a scheduling thing.
Yeah.
And so it was one day they had already planned it out, but they would bring in chorizo.
Oh, damn.
And cook it up, and do it, do it their style. But I grew up on chorizo, but it was always, I guess I wasn't always the biggest fan of it. And younger. Yeah. But this was like being away from home, living in the city, so one day I show up to work, and they had planned it out, and it was during the downtime when they cooked it up, and they told me to come out back in the kitchen, and that usually doesn't happen, and there's a few other chefs there, but like they were all sitting down tearing up the chorizo. Yeah. And like they brought in like tortillas and it was like lunch time. Yeah. But it was just kind of like I mean chorizo is good, but I didn't understand why it was chorizo. It was just that it was like it reminded me of back home too, and it was prepared a little different. Yeah. I mean, they're throwing in tomatoes and onions, and we just had it with eggs. Yeah. But they're throwing in eggs and milk, and it was bomb.
Yeah, I bet. Sounds good.
And so, like, we were all grubbing on good, and it was like I felt a part of something.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
In that little moment. So, after that, I was so excited that happened, and I understood it was because it was like on certain days, certain people were there. Yeah. So like, I kind of like always sort of was like, after that, it was like, I'll bring the chorizo, kind of like, I want to do this again with you guys. Yeah. And so they told me what kind to get, and whenever that time came, I brought it. We did it up again, and it definitely like broke down that
nice food,
awkward thing. Yeah, but it's like that mutual understanding, yeah, you're here too, I'm here. Let's kind of enjoy the time, even though we do have responsibilities. Because it's like, work, customer came, we were all back at work, Yeah. But it's like, you can't, and then it's like also kind of knowing when you can do that. Is sometimes there's eyes on you, depending on what jobs you're at. But at this job, it was just sort of like, yeah, maybe we weren't supposed to be doing that, but it was also sort of like no harm, no foul kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not like we ignored customers or anything like that. So, I always like treasure that moment because it was sort of like, I don't know. It was like I'm not breaking the. Yeah, I guess I am kind of breaking the rules, but it's not.
I don't know.
It's not. Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was just a weird. It was a good feeling though, because I was taken back of home, just kind of being reminded of chorizo, eating it at my auntie's house, and then kind of enjoying it in a new way, but kind of also sort of having like, oh, these guys are maybe not my new friends, but they appreciate whatever.
Yeah.
Enough to invite me in, and
that's cool, man.
So it was. I mean, that was. I mean, we were having fun. We were nourishing our bodies with the chorizo, but it was. That was a good time. Those are good times. Like, even looking back now, my job now, I don't have that. Like, I mean, not to say like
bring the chorizo, man. All you gotta do is bring the chorizo.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird now. We're not allowed to have. Not to throw my shit out there. Like, we're really not supposed to be having any kind of like birthday parties or anything like celebrations.
Damn. It's written? It's written down somewhere? Don't do that?
It just was a new rule that kind of came out when all this happened with the pandemic shit. So, but like, yeah, some jobs you eat more than you do at others,
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I got one. Same kind of situation, but I didn't know it. As what oftentimes happen, it was at another one at the hardware store, and it was the first one I worked at, and I got pretty tight with the boss, like the big boss, the one who like ran the store, and really what it was that I started coming in and talking to him about what I wanted from my job. And I started like telling him I wanted to advance and become a supervisor. So we started actually talking. And one day, like I don't even know why. Like why there was no kind of heads up. He's just like, hey, would you be willing to do me a favor? Can you stop? Can you come see me like an hour before your lunch? I was like, no kidding? He's like, yeah, please, and just come to my office. I was like, all right, cool, well, I'll do that. And I came over, and like he was kind of on the phone, whatever, he's talking, so he just invited me in. I went and sat down, and I was trying not to listen, but he's like, talking full volume. I'm just sitting there, he's talking business, and then he got off the phone. He's like, hey, follow me. It's like, cool. And he walked into the middle, and he's just like, yeah, so we're going to go out back here. I want you to come out back with me. I was like, all right. Like, you want me to walk around the store and go all the way around to the back? And he's just like, no, I got a key right here. And he started opening the back door. I was like, oh, okay, cool. What are we doing? Like, what, you want me to clean up out here or something? Like, whatever's going on. Need some help? Like, that was nothing new, like, we ran a lot of pallets around back, and like a lot of people like tore bags or destroyed the pallets or just working too fast, not paying attention. So there was almost always a mess back there. And he brought me out back, and he walked me out there, and like I saw 2 grills like set up, and they were already kind of cooking, and he's like, yeah, if you're cool with it, I'll make sure you're still getting paid for this next hour, but if you could just cook up some burgers and some hot dogs. Like, he didn't even ask if I can cook. Like, he's just like, hey, you want to do this?
Oh, nice.
I was like, it was kind of like a long week anyway. Like, I think what it was is like employee appreciation. So like we had funds for when we did really well and met the quota or whatever. So like they would send us money to buy, you know, supplies. So like overnight people would get like pizzas or something, and or they do the same thing, just, you know, a little different. And he's just like, hey, like if you're willing to cook up like as many as you can, like I need all these. He had like these 2 big packages of hamburgers and 2 big things of hot dogs. He's like, if you can cook as much as you can out of this, like I'd appreciate it. I'll keep you on the clock, and then when your lunchtime comes up, you just sit down and eat what you cooked. And I was like, fuck yeah, like yeah, let's do it. Like again, it was like a change of pace. And so like out of the blue, like unbeknownst to me, like an hour before lunch, I'm just in the back of this big hardware store on some grills, like the same products we were selling, and I'm grilling up burgers. Like I'm just sitting there, and I wound up like breaking out my little speaker. I was playing some music, you know, and I'm sitting there jamming and just kind of cooking it up, grilling it. And I think it was around winter time because it felt really nice out back. Like I had the sun in my face, and if it were summer, that's not what you want. But at that time, I remember just kind of looking around and smiling like, this is a crazy fucking job. Like this is not what I expected. So I was standing out back, just grilling it up, you know, flipping burgers, you know, throwing some, trying not to burn the hot dogs, and I'm just like working the grill. Had some music.
You like to work the grill too, right?
I fucking love it, dude. There's nothing like having some kind of smoke, like a flavorful smoke coming around, and there's meat, and like you're trying to beat the clock, and at the same time play with your temperature to get like that perfect. You want your meat to be juicy and tasty, and like you want the people you're cooking for to enjoy it. So like I was digging it. I was like, yeah, and I guess I think what he had asked me is, could I take my lunch an hour later? So I worked during the lunch, and what I was doing was cooking for everybody who took their lunch at that time. So I had people like coming out and going, hey man, that was a good burger, you cooked it just right. I was like, oh yeah. They're like, hey dude, good job, thank you. I was like, oh, it's all good, man, eat up, help yourself. And I'm just grilling it, you know. And my boss came back, and he kind of sat down on a pallet, and he looked at me, and he just kind of started talking, and he's just like, and then he kind of smiled, and he looked at me. It's like, he's like, you look happy. Is this a good job? Is this what you expect? I was like, hell no. It's like, I wasn't expecting this at all, but I'm enjoying it. And it's like, good. It's like, cool. I just wanted to give you a little break. Like, go for it. Like, you're helping me out. Like, I appreciate it. Like, you know, take your lunch after this and just chill, man. Enjoy it. Have some food. Like, you're helping everybody out. You're helping me out. And it's like, I get you anything or whatever. I was just like, you know, the only thing this is missing is a beer. Like, I'd like to have a beer while I grill. Like, I like that. Like, it kind of completes the feeling. You know, you just have a beer, drinking it, and just feeling good and cooking meat. There's nothing else like that. And I just kind of joked at him. I was like, man, the only thing missing is a beer here. And he cracked up. He just like, well, company policy or something like that. He said something like that. He went back inside. I just laughed at him. I'm like, cool. He's like, no, it's against company policy. I was like, all right. He's like, you know, I'd like one too, but yeah, company policy. I was like, all right. I was like, cool, whatever. Well, I didn't expect one, but you know, just threw it out there. We just laughed, and he went back inside. So, same thing, man. It was food. Like, people that never said a word to me, they're like, hey man, thanks for the burger. Like, it tastes good. I was like, cool. Glad you liked it. I'm here all week, you know, just cooking it up. And like that was something. Again, it mixed it up. It was like that's the spice of life, is changing things up. And it was doing something I completely loved, but at home, and it somehow came to work for me. So that was a cool time.
That's tight.
Yeah.
What about like? I was thinking about this earlier too. Was like maybe your best time leaving a job, or a good kind of ending story for a job, or I don't know. I kind of have this. I don't know if you have anything in mind, but I worked at Bash's.
Yeah.
When I was 11th grade. I think I must have got it in the summer of 11th, and then I was starting senior year working there.
I forgot that, man. What were you doing again?
I was like bagging groceries, just
okay.
I started helping with the bread, and kind of moved on to do other things. But I kind of like I enjoyed it to where I started to take on other stuff. Maybe it wasn't in my to-do list, but it was like I was going to do it because I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I when I left there, it wasn't like this is a miserable place, I don't want to be here. I sincerely liked it, and still still going to school, like they let me kind of have an easy schedule. We got paid every week. Some jobs you gotta wait 2 weeks, or you got paid every week. And,
yeah, that's nice.
I don't know, it's just fun. So, fun little place to be, especially when there's nobody there. But anyways, I was, like I said, I was still a student, and I had done a poem. Can't remember if it was for Hardy or if it was for another writer that they brought that did poems. I don't remember how it got set up, but somehow Hardy picked one of my poems, and they were gonna let me read it at the U of A. And it was just a one-time thing, and I didn't have to go. There was a lot of people not going. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I still feel that way sometimes, where some people aren't into poetry.
Yeah.
So you can't force somebody to like it or even get excited about it. But I get excited about a poem.
Good poetry, yeah.
The time to read the poem, or the day that they were having that event, I was working. And I was already kind of feeling like I can't work here forever, and I am kind of slacking in my grades a little, just always being tired, and so it was kind of affecting me, but I was still kind of maintaining as well. So, it wasn't like I used that me having to go read this poem as an excuse to pretty much quit. But I don't know. It was like I was on the schedule, and I was like, I called in. It's like, I'm not going, man, and I think I'm pretty much like quitting, and thinking now that's not really professional. I didn't give him no 2 weeks, but it was like I was a kid. That's the only excuse I can give right now is I was a kid, but. I really wanted to share this poem, and even looking back now, I don't even remember the poem, but it was just.
Wait a minute. You've got a poem right now in front of you?
Nah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna share it right now. I was like, poetry jam right here.
I don't even remember what it was. I just knew there were people were reading their poems and I got picked.
Cool.
So I read mine, but I don't remember what it was. Yeah.
You remember a title?
I remember quitting my job so I could go read it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was
okay.
So it was kind of. Like, I look back on that, and I don't know if that's a good story to tell somebody, like...
yeah. I think, to me, knowing you and your education, your background, maybe not your whole background, but I'm saying, like, to know how important a poem would be to you, the opportunity to share that, and you quit your job over it, I think that's a great story. Like, it's like, that's you. Like you went and you're I think it's coming out, so I'm going to say it, is you went into creative writing as your major.
Oh, yeah.
And
like I said,
that's indicative of that love of language. So yeah, that's a great story. I didn't know that. Was you're saying that this was not really part of the school thing, but like something you were invited to outside of school?
I really don't remember, man. I just remember Hardy saying, "Remember that poem you wrote?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it's just like, well, I submitted it. You got chosen if you want to go read it. It was at one of the auditoriums at the U of A. I mean, I had classes there, but it was like I was like, oh, cool, I can go to the U of A and share my poem. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. To me, that looking back now, I see the significance, but like, I don't know if that's how I felt when it was happening. I was like, oh man. But yeah, that was me leaving my job at Bash's.
Wow.
I didn't want to
leave. Do you think you could apply back at Bash's and they'd still take you?
I think so. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm getting too confident, but I could find a job there.
Oh wow! Cool, man. Cool. Huh? I feel like I remember you telling me about Hardy submitting this story and it got picked. I feel like I remember it now, but I don't remember ever hearing the poem or seeing the poem or even hearing the title. That's why I asked. I was like, you remember the title? What's funny is you quit your job for it and you don't remember it.
That's why I said I don't think it's a good start to tell somebody. Like, keep your job, man. Don't just write another poem later.
No. I say follow your dreams, kids, and don't be afraid to sacrifice for it. Like, wow, that's cool, man. That it sounds big. Like, do you think there's a recording of that? Like, if you looked up like the year, you might be able to find it, like as an archive or something at the U of A.
I don't know. I really couldn't tell you, man.
I want to see that, like 11th grade Sky reading the poetry to a U of A auditorium. That'd be something cool to see.
That's pretty trippy.
I'm like, since you said it, I've been trying to figure out a good leaving a job story, and I only got a bad one. I got the opposite.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, it was a bad. I guess I was doing the bad thing by leaving the job. Like, I signed up for it.
If it was your lifelong dream career job, I think, yeah, you screwed up. But it's a job you have that you can still go to school on.
There's separation. There's disbandment.
There are people in this world. Yeah. Well, I'm saying like there's people in this world who wouldn't dream of quitting a job that they applied for. They got the job, and they're like, "Nah, this is the fucking job." Like, yeah, like, no, I'm never gonna be late. I'm gonna show up every day. I'm never gonna leave, and if I ever leave, I'm gonna do the whole 2 weeks, 1 month notice, something like that. And I'm sure they're probably sitting out there appalled at your story. But I'm loving it. I'm like, Sky quit his job for a poem, his poem, and an opportunity. I've definitely uprooted my life and completely changed it quite a few times in my life, and it was usually to chase an opportunity or to like just get up off my ass and do something. Mm-hmm. And I like that you did it. Like, I don't know if that one event, I mean, you don't even remember the poem, but like, that event might have affected your path from there on. Like,
I think you're right.
I think it might have ended your career hopes at Bash's, but you know, I think it would lead down the road and affect you the rest of your life in a way that I would say is positive. That you went after it and you thought it was important enough to do that. You know? I hear it, and I hear like a love story. you know, like this is the development of who you are.
Yeah. You know, I think when I finally went back to school, there were flashbacks of that time.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. Maybe that was kind of like a spark, and who I became, who I become. But
cool.
I guess leaving a job is not always ideal. So yeah, it is kind of. I don't know, like maybe leaving one job because you got another job.
Yeah.
Like, is there a right or wrong way to handle that? Or
no. There's.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure somebody out there would go, "Oh, the good book is the book to follow on your life," but I really want to just say there's no written book about how to live your life.
Yeah.
And I think we're all kind of writing our own book, you know. Some of them are tragedies, some of them are comedies, Some of them read like a fucking encyclopedia, you know, just boring and sad kind of thing. Very informational, but I would say that's a good story. In my book, that's a good story. I got a good chuckle out of it, and at the same time, I really do feel like it's like insight into who you are, and I seriously believe it might have shaped who you are. Just this decision you made, this one, like the butterfly effect. You made a decision and it trickled down into who you are, where you end up, where you went, where you're going, and maybe a lifelong love for language and art. Because I know you're into it. Whenever we start talking about words and how they affect people and how they affect you, like I always feel like you're enjoying it just as much as I am. So, you know, party on, Wayne. Like you did it. And
yeah,
I think when we're in high school, job's a job. Like whatever you're doing, cool, you're making money. But is it really what you're wanting to do? Like, no, yes, no. Like, who cares? It's like when you're in high school, it's like meh. Like really, if we're getting down to it, your education when you're in high school should be your job. You know, that's where your focus should be, and anything outside of that is maybe, you know, secondary.
Well, you know, like, you can kind of...
a
Drummies?
Sorry, my son's showing me something on his notepad.
I was going to say, like, there's because I know there's jobs and then there's, like, a career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, they're all kind of, sometimes they're intertwined, sometimes they have nothing to do with each other, but, like, there's a certain kind of, like, enjoyment, that has, not necessarily has to be there, but if it's there, it's kind of rewarding. Like,
yeah.
Doing something you don't want to do, but you make a lot of money versus enjoying that type of work.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't make that much in that position, or yeah.
I was surprised how much I loved running a forklift. Like, I don't know what I thought I'd become when I was a kid. Like I grew up thinking I was a true believer in that. Oh, you can become anything you want. You know, I believed it. I bought into that, and so in education or whatever, it wasn't really like, oh, like I was surrounded by students that were like, oh, I gotta get that grade. Like they were stressed the hell out. Like their focus was their grades. That was their currency and their life. And education was their life, and that's what they did. And I can say, okay, I can respect that. That's great. But like what I always focused on was the future. Like what's going to happen? You know, it's kind of like sitting in a classroom listening to a professor. Part of the job is you take notes so that you can look at it later, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're taking notes, your mind is split between what you're being taught and taking notes. So I'm the type where it's like I'd rather listen and maybe record or take notes where it's like, crap, I'm not going to remember that. But like I felt present. You know, like I'm there, I'm hearing the lecture firsthand, looking at my professor, looking at the board, looking at whatever's going on, and I'm there. And then there's a bunch of people who are looking down, racing, you know, to write stuff down, and then others that are like, don't even want to be there, they're hungover, you know. Sometimes that was me, but it's like, I was still there, I'd show up. And, I lost the point I was going for. Damn it! It had to do with what you were saying, and I was just gonna say like career-wise, focus. Like I grew up thinking I could do anything, and all right. So I had brought up being surprised how much I like a forklift. Like when I had the chance to, when I was a kid and I was envisioning what I would do, I always thought it'd be something extraordinary and I'd be out in the world, and I've traveled for what I've done. You know, I found myself surprised where I was, like where I was living, what I was doing, and the people I was meeting. Like, damn, I'm doing this. I've like one of the huge things I've done, and it's come up, you know, watching Grey's Anatomy or something. I've sat in meetings where they discussed who's getting the next heart transplant. You know, I listen to the doctors go back and forth about whether or not one patient or the other should get the next heart that comes to their hospital. You know, I heard, I've seen an actual heart surgery taking place live. You know, I watched to just educate and orientate. Alright, I can't think of the word. I was learning of the craft that we were being taught, and so I've done. That was one of the extraordinary things I've been a part of. I've ran through the emergency room. I've fought fire. I've watched an entire mountain burn, or maybe even create like a cloud so massive it looked like a nuclear bomb went off. You know, I've swam in the Potomac, you know, the river that goes through Washington, D.C. I've jumped in the Colorado River on the border of, Nevada and Arizona. And maybe to some that's nothing, but like, it meant something to me when I did it, and it's something I'll always remember. And you can't plan for these things. You never know what's gonna happen. You know, you never know what opportunities are gonna fall in your lap. Like I had gone and worked at the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, and I had never even heard of the National Institutes of Health before that. I've heard of the World Health Organization, but I had never heard of the NIH. So I got sent there just by chance, and I met these people, and I just told myself, I'm coming back here, I'm going to work here, and I did. It was like, wow, this is incredible. And I never saw that as a kid. You know, you're preparing for your life, you're preparing for your job. And then at the same time, I was as happy as a pig in mud driving a forklift. You know, and at some point in my life, I might have looked down on that. And I've said this several times before. as a kid, I would think I would never be a janitor, and then I wound up working as a janitor or a maintenance man at the casino. And I've turned out and I've said this before, it turned out that was one of the better paying jobs I ever had in my life. So it was like, you plan and you hope and you have these ideas of what's going to become you, and they shape you. And turns out I could be really happy rushing up and down these aisles of a closed store, racing the clock, figuring out, like, planning and organizing the inside of a store using a giant forklift, moving thousands of pounds at a time. It was exciting for me. Like, it was surprisingly satisfying to be left alone outside, and I walk the floor, I look around, I make a game plan, which, works with my mind, and then I operate this finely tuned machine that can move, the weight of a car and lift it 30 feet in the air and put it on a shelf exactly where I want it. And that was thrilling enough too. Like, it was satisfying. Like there was a lot of BS that went into that was going on all around me. But when I was sitting out there alone in the dark doing my thing, I was very happy and satisfied. So it's like, jobs, like I said about your high school job. Like I think when I turned either 15 or 16, whatever the legal age is to work, I think it was 16, I worked at the Rent-A-Flick. And it was like, that was fun as hell. I'm getting paid to, I had to do a lot of organizing. I had to kind of be a bit of a salesman. I didn't really enjoy that too much, but I could play movies, and I'd sit there and make popcorn and eat popcorn and watch movies. I was like, that was satisfying, but it wasn't, I wouldn't say that was my favorite job, but it was satisfying. It was good, and maybe it was the beginning of a love for movies, or maybe the middle part of it, because I was already in love with movies. But, like,
it's almost like the perks.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to do with the pay. Always.
That's probably the most important thing, is it's not about the pay. Like, yes, when you go after a job now, like as an adult, and you've paid rent, and you've got bills, and, you got to get some kind of insurance for your vehicle, or, I got to make sure that my baby's mom has money to feed the kids. Like, it's like, that's important. And then you go, all right, what kind of job will allow me to do that and pay my own bills? But and you start thinking, you start leaning towards more money. But in the end, when you're out there working, what's going to bring you back every day is finding something in what you're doing that's satisfying, something that makes it worthwhile. Cool, it looks just like it. Good job, boy.
And it does a photo, Daddy.
Cool.
Yeah, and he don't need no arms. And that way God's vote. Right now.
All right. So yeah, like, I think we all have ideas as kids. All right, boy, you gotta stop. We're recording right now. All right. I'll check it out when we're done. All right. Okay. All right. So, like, I think there's a key takeaway here is we've all got to get the job, and some of us like I went to Home Depot today, and I was getting building material, and there's this lady in the parking lot, and she's always there, and she's got like a pretty decent setup. She has a couple tables, some flags, and she's got a hot dog cart. And I see her there all the time, and I always think, like, man, she's hustling. Like she's, like, just the fact that she's always there. Yeah. She's always there, all the time. Every time I'm there, no matter what time we've shown up, she's there. And like, that's her job, man. That's what she's choosing to do with her life. Like, I think a lot of us start to forget that, you know, the self-satisfaction is just as important as satisfaction at your job, and sometimes they go hand in hand. And like, I think when we start growing older, like, that little, like, oh, I can be anything I want in the world kind of dies off. Like, it's like a childhood drive. It's like, man, I want to be a superstar. I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm going to be a fireman. I want to be a police officer. I want to be a teacher. I want to write. I want to be a writer. You know, whatever. You know, I want to make people happy. I want to cook for people. I want to, like, whatever it is, whatever that want, that drive, and this happy excitement, it kind of dies off as you get older, and then it's like, I better get a good job so I can pay my bills. You know, and it's and you lose sight of that, like, or that feeling of, like, man, I want to do something great with my life, and you start thinking, oh, I have to do this. This is what everybody does. They go out and get this job, and you won't dare dream of having a job where you're the boss. You know? Yeah,
but I think it's also too, like, the exposure, like,
and support.
The general things, like, even like the medical field, like, we just know doctors and nurses, but like, even within the health field realm, there's like all these other jobs, but like, we don't, not so much we don't promote them, but it's very general on what we inform kids when they're young. So I don't know, but I when you were talking about sort of like being surprised that the job wasn't as bad as you thought it was gonna be, like, I almost see it like, it's not so much we gotta assume the worst, but sometimes to kind of go off of an assumption and to be surprised, like, oh, this is not horrible, or this is not the worst thing to do. This is actually, like, I'm actually having a good time doing this, and like, I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm just, I don't know, I always, like, kind of, well, I mean, the job I have now, I love it. It's a good job. But like, but it also kind of came at a time when I was ready to find a new job. So I haven't. I mean, there are some times where I'm like, oh man, like, there are some challenges in this field, but like, the boss I had at the time when I went in to, like, see her, because she kind of asked for, like, hey, let's sit down and talk before we even, like, she even hired me. I went into her office and she had a ukulele in there, and nice. and that was just sort of like, this has never been I've never had a boss in all my jobs have an instrument in their office and just be like, play it. Go ahead and play it. Like go ahead. And that was a good perk for me. That was a perk where I'm like, You're letting me play your ukulele in your office, and
hell yeah.
I mean, that's just, like, I'm not. And I mean, a few times she brought in a really nice Gibson guitar, acoustic.
Yeah.
And it's just we jammed out. We jammed out on the ukuleles one time. We formed a little kids band. We played Baby Shark. So, like, I had that good music connection. So, I mean, like, we're talking about the perks. I think sometimes the perks can be so good that that it push you more towards wanting the job.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, doesn't mean like I don't know, like when they say the grass is greener on the other side, like I think that there's always going to be a job that is going to have nice perks, but is it something you really want to do? Even now that I'm getting older,
Well,
crazy.
One of the other jobs I meant to bring up when I first said it, there was two things that came up. It was doing the maintenance job. It was so we'd all show up for our shift, and it was like kind of sunset, I guess, like 7 o'clock, and everybody on my team, like we had maybe I want to say 20 people, maybe a little less, but we'd all show up, and our first job would be to go clean the bingo room. Like they didn't run bingo at night, I guess, or or maybe they didn't run it for like a certain amount of time, and then they'd open it back up. Or maybe I think at the time they were doing it like during the day. I think that's how they were doing it. I really don't know. We would just show up, and that was our first task. All of us. We'd all go to the same room. We had a bottle of sanitizer and a rag, and you just go and sanitize the whole thing. Like it was, and that fucker would get dirty. Like everybody just kind of leaning there on the tables, whatever. Like that thing would get nasty. And then like we'd go around and empty all the trash bags, bag them up, and then put them in bigger bags so that we could deliver them to the trash. And like, we didn't have a say in that. It was just all that job. And then the next part of that job was we would split off into like specific teams. There was like a floor team, and their job was to walk out on the gaming floor and like wipe down machines, pick up ashtrays and dump them out. Just general sanitation, cleaning, sweeping the carpets a little bit, gathering trash cans and emptying them out. Some groups would go to the bathrooms and clean the bathrooms. And the job that I always hoped for, the one I always wanted to get, was one where we were cleaning the kitchen mats. And it was these giant kitchen mats. They were probably about 5 or 6 feet long, maybe 4 feet wide, and each one weighed like maybe 20 or 30 pounds. And there was maybe 100 of them in the store. Maybe not that many. We always had this big fat stack. And what we would do is we would go and gather them. They had like restaurants and kitchens everywhere. And we'd go to each one at a time and gather all theirs at a certain time. So like you need to go to this store by this time and then get their mats, get them out there, clean them, hang them to dry, and then bring them back. And I think we actually what we would do is we'd go and collect them all, bring them out, clean them all, and then return them in the morning. And like I always hoped for that job. And I always hoped I did it with somebody I liked, because it was like, yeah, it was a long, kind of physical job. And there was a lot of times where, like, you're just doing the job, and there's, like, if you're with somebody who you like, you'll talk the whole time, the entire time. And as long as you're getting the job done, that's it. That's your job. So we would go to each kitchen, bring the mats out, spray them down with like a degreaser, and then we'd run like a gas-powered power washer and spray off all the chunks of food and all the shit that like lands on them. We'll pick them up like these black mats, and then when we spray them, they're orange. They were all orange, but they'd be black when we pick them up. And you know, at the end of the day, the sun be coming up, I'd be outside, and we'd go from that to picking up cigarette butts in the front of the store. And I don't want to say that was especially like, oh, it's a satisfying, this like, oh, it was a perk, but it was like, that was the job I hoped for, and it was relaxing, and like, you knew what would happen, you knew what was coming. It was like, alright, go get the mats, clean them, dry them, return them, that's it. And then sometimes you finish a little earlier, and that's when we just go pick up cigarette butts. And like a lot of times the front, you know, your shoes will be soaked, the bottoms of your pants will be wet from like standing out there spraying all night. But like you could have a headphone in your ear, you know, you'd be jamming music and just cleaning mats. And I enjoyed that. There's something satisfying about running a gas-powered machine and like watching it turn this nasty, gunky, greasy thing into, you know, a halfway decent smelling, clean mat that somebody could use, and it keeps them safe, you know, keeps them from slipping in the restaurant.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not gonna act like that was some fulfilling job. Like, I really love running a forklift. I won't say I loved that job, but it was, I hoped for it every night. Like, God, I hope I clean the mats. I didn't want to clean toilets, and I definitely didn't want to walk the floor. Like, the floor was like, damn, like at the end of the day, it felt like I was smoking my entire shift. And like, I didn't smoke, you know, I don't smoke cigarettes, so I was like, man, this is, I get out in the morning, I'd just be like, yeah, I'm like, fuck. And it's like other people smoke, and I'm smoking too, and it's like, I'm not even smoking. So like, bless you.
Thank you.
So, jobs, man,
yeah. I was gonna say, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I think it's just having that little power for me.
Yeah.
But I remember when I got my first job after graduating college, I had my own office. Like, this is your office. Like, like it hadn't been used in a while, so it's like I had some cleaning up to do, and
yeah.
And they had this big, it was a dry erase board that it was humongous. No one wanted it. Like, it took up so much space, but
yeah,
I had the space in my office, but it wasn't. They had to, like, someone had to come and put it on the wall, because it was just like in the background somewhere. And
yeah.
When they said, all right, well, we'll do a work order for you, that just, like, blew my mind, because, like, maybe a little bit later, the dude's just like, hey, this is what you want, you know? So I was like, I'm the big man, yeah, just up on the wall now, put it up, you know? So I got a little excited about it, like, yeah, for my office, put it right here, you know, it's just,
yeah.
I don't know why, but it was a big dry erase board, and, you know, I didn't always use it for work. It was just one thing to draw on, and, but that, and also too, like people coming to my office, I was not always, but in the beginning I tried to like, have a jar of candy or a jar of like seeds or something, pistachios. Like, hey, if you come to my office, you can get some snacks too. I got snacks here, So it's just, I don't know. In the beginning, I was excited about these little things that I could do while I was working here. If I want a dry erase board right here, I could. I was just. Maybe my ego was a little big or a little too excited. But yeah, I mean, I think, but eventually, like, maybe that's what it is, where they're just perks,
Yeah.
They're not. The responsibilities still might stress you out.
Tell me you used that thing, right? Like you used it, you got it on your wall. Tell me, like, let's go to the dry erase board here, people. Like you used it, right?
Oh yeah, I used it. But it was just sort of like everyone else had a small one, and they managed it, but I had to have this big one, and didn't really. I used it, but I remember sometimes I would just write like Da Vinci quotes and stuff, or like I would just leave up epic quotes for the week and stuff. I mean, I enjoyed that space I had, and it was cool to me. But I mean, I think that's almost the opposite. Like,
was this your last job? The job before this one?
Yeah, that's the job before this one.
Wow. Big man.
But it's really not the same vibe now. So that perk that I'm talking about now, with like having my own office and being able to have things rearranged and doing work orders and stuff, like that perk, I don't have that perk no more. So it's kind of so I mean, it's like
the power.
I'm okay with that though. I mean, I'm okay with that because, like I said, the job I'm doing now, I think there's a lot more other perks that I'm feeling now. Like, yeah. Maybe I just like dry erase boards a lot, And
I think the power went to your head, and you just liked having underlings. You're like, minions, get my dry erase board.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. I like that you're calling it perks, man. That's something else. Did you ever have a shitty job? Like a job where you're just like, man, fuck this job.
Yeah, at the airport.
Airport. What'd you do there?
I was a wheelchair assistant, and it had nothing to do with the wheelchairs. I think it was more just because like you can have jobs where you have more freedom than maybe jobs where you're required to have a certain standard. And like even just getting that job, I had to cut my hair, and I mean that was from the beginning. That was like already kind of like, oh damn,
fuck this job.
But like I mean, I don't grow a beard every day, so I don't always shave. And so, like, sometimes I'll have a couple of just whiskers pointing out, but that, like, if something like that happened and they saw me, like, I would have to buy a razor.
Damn.
And go and shave because, like, I wasn't keeping up my facial, but, like, I don't, that's not me.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's not my. I like a couple scruffs here and there. You know,
yeah.
I'm alright. I can't. I'm not trying to. I don't know. So that was a weird thing. Maybe that's kind of a weird. That was what turned me off to it. But yeah, it was just sort of the attitude when I had a couple hair sticking out. Like, man, you need to shave that. Like,
yeah. I think I feel you on that. I think it would eat me up, the stupidity of it. Like, oh yeah, this is fucking up my career here. Is this whisker? Like, this is bothering you right now?
This one hair is gonna ruin the company.
I don't know about this whisker, man. But you see this wrinkle, man? This might crumble our entire empire here. Like, look at this shirt.
And when so even when you left, you had to dry clean your vest. It was just from the beginning to the end. There was a lot of rules and
yeah. I bet. Did you at least enjoy like being helpful? Like were the people grateful for the fact that you were there to help?
Yeah. I mean. Again, the perks, just, kind of meeting a lot of people from different.
Yeah.
The Phoenix airport is like a lot of people are coming through there. So
I don't know why I assumed you worked at the Tucson one.
Oh no, it was in Phoenix.
Okay.
So even commuting there, like having to get on the bus to go ride there. And then it was kind of. You had to sort of go backstage. I mean, it was cool. I mean, like, you would get tips, and then you could, the airport's, their airport's nice, so they got a lot of stores, and, you might see a celebrity, I don't know if you know Bo Diddley. I met Bo Diddley.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, look him up after this. But yeah,
it's kind of a big deal.
But I just didn't know in the high caliber, but it could have happened. Anyways, but it was really based off of your tips. It really wasn't a lot that you made per hour.
Wow.
And like I said, they're really strict on stuff. So
yeah, I think that would just eat me up after a while. Just like man, fuck you, Terry. Just a little hair, Terry. Back up.
It's like fuck you. You're cool. So yeah, it was a short time in my life. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of a more shittier job. I think maybe naturally, or I'm speaking for my son, I think I'd try to have a good time. And when you're in a space where you can have a good time, still get work done, that's awesome. But some places you can't do that.
Huh. There was I worked for a company that is pretty prominent in commercials. It was a pizza place, and it's based here in Tucson and Phoenix, and that's all I'll say. I'm not trying to name names here, but like for them, I worked a bunch of different jobs. Like I started out as like a bus boy. People would leave, they leave a bunch of trash on the table, and I just run over, sweep it off the table, collect the pans, and just give the table down like a spritz and wipe it down. so that another person could come. And I worked at like 3 different locations. So I think the first one I worked for, it was kind of like a smaller one that not a lot of people knew about. It was kind of like, I think it was the smallest location and had the least amount of customers, like the least amount of flow. Like it was kind of laid back. And I worked 2 jobs there. Like one was opening the store, and I'd come in and I would crap. I think I worked at 4 of the locations now that I think about it. Hey, stop that. Stop messing with that. And hey. So for them, the first one I went to, they were actually pretty busy, and that's what I did. I wiped tables, and I'd help out in the kitchen a little bit, like kind of cleaning, and then at the same time, I think the only other real cooking I was doing was like sides. Like it would be like I'd be getting. I don't think they even let me pour beer, but I'd walk beer out. I'd make. I'd deep fry the wings and like time them, and I'd shake them up in their sauces, whatever people ordered, and then I would do. I think I would bake their. They had like little side cheesy bread or whatever. So I would do that, and that was my first job. And the second one I went to, that was the chill one. It was like I would open the store, so nobody'd be there. I'd walk in, they'd lock us in, and I'd sweep everywhere. I'd sweep the whole floor, kind of wipe down the tables a little bit if they were kind of fucked up. And then about once a week, they'd do like an inventory where they would bring in the week, I guess the week's supply of stuff that they needed. And then I'd check it all. I'd inventory it. I'd check it in and make sure the order was correct. I'd make notes on it, and then turn it into the boss. And I think I liked the second one a little better. The second one was good. It was like I did a little bit of everything. They kind of let me run. I think whatever job I end up in, people tend to start letting me do whatever I'm doing. And it's like, he's okay. He shows up. He works hard, and he doesn't fuck up much. So it's like, he's okay. Let him do it. So like, hey, you want to learn how to do this? I'd be like, sure. So then they throw me on something else. So like, the second store I was at, I'd do all the cleaning, get it all ready. I'd even set up a salad bar. I did the inventories. I ran the oven. I never made the pizzas. They had like ladies that would come in and do that. And then I also, like, when it was really slow, I'd run in the back and work with this guy. His name was Ali. He was like a Turkish man that spoke Russian, and they were like immigrants that were brought by the boss to come work in our stores and basically help them immigrate to America. And I would go in the back, and like I was learning Russian with him while we sheeted the dough. Like we were running this machine that flattened out the dough, and we cut all the pizzas, and I'd just go help him. And then the next place I worked at, I had his job. So it was like I was getting paid more. I started doing more, and like that job, the main manager would come in. He or she would look at what we had on the shelves, like what was already made, and then they give us an estimate on what we needed to do. We had a quota for the day. It's like, all right, you just come in, you got your list, and then you make it, and you just work it until you have what they're looking for, like however much they need. And then whenever that's done, you leave. And I remember when I was doing that, I'd leave, and like my nose would be like full of little balls of dough, because there'd be flour like just flying around the whole time. I'd be breathing it in. And I kind of liked that job. It was like, it was quick pace and kind of like heavy lifting kind of stuff. But I was running all this special equipment, and like I didn't have to deal with customers. It was like, I'm just in the back, chilling. I'm just back here doing my thing, and I know what needs to get done, and I just get it done. And I think that's kind of what I need from a job now that I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah.
And after that, we went and dismantled one of the stores that I had started in. They had shut it down. Like, I guess it wasn't making enough money. So then I became this, like, behind the scenes, like, I was repairing the games that the kids play on, and I was like, I helped take apart a fucking merry-go-round. Like, I never thought I'd be doing that, like, at a pizza place. But that's what I did. Like, I helped dismantle this giant, like, carnival-size, like, full-size carnival style, and it was a classic one. It wasn't like some kind of brand new thing. It was like this 30, 40-year-old, maybe even 50-year-old merry-go-round. And I remember when we were all done, at the very end, this gigantic gear came out of the middle, and I was like walking it out, and it was so freaking heavy. It was crazy. It blew my mind. I never thought I'd see something like that at a pizza store. And then I think my final job, I went to this other store where I had the same old boss, and that job fucking sucked. I was doing all the same stuff, but the store was so busy. Like, I got yelled at a couple of times where, like, what they would do is they had so many pizzas coming through that they would, like, load them up, and I had to figure out whose order was what order they put it in, and then I had to get it out. But they had their oven set to spin a lot faster, and I guess the whole point was we could knock out more pizzas. But the problem was if you fucked up and, like, missed the pizza or whatever, your giant pizza pan would, like, get stuck in the oven and get jammed up, and it will bend it all up. And I like cut through a pizza. Like, I was just trying to, like, you're supposed to spin it, lift it up, spin it so that it was getting cooked evenly. And I remember I stabbed through a couple of them, and, like, they had to start them all over from scratch. And, like, the ladies in the back, the ones that were, like, putting on the toppings, they're like, get this fucking guy out of here, fuck this guy, like, he's making me do my work, They're like, I do enough pizzas as it is. And they're like, all right, you got to get off, like, go, like, you can either go in the back and work on the sheeter or, like, the dough maker, or go out on the floor and, like work on the games, like help with the game count, the toy counter and the rides and all that. So I just did that, but I hated it. Like, I liked doing it at a slower store, but once I moved to this, like, super high volume store, damn, I fucking hated it. It was just like noise, just loud noise, all these kids all the time, and, like, the pizza oven was so hard, so I'd get yelled at for, like, ripping pizzas up, and it was awful. It was just awful. I was doing the exact same stuff that I enjoyed, but now I was getting yelled at for the same stuff. And I think that was a turning point for me. Like, maybe I want to hear another turning point from you, but it was like, I think that's when I decided I didn't want to, like, every now and then you get some shit, like you with the hairs on your face. You get a little shit from a boss. Like, that kind of comes with the territory of having a job and having a boss.
Oh, yeah.
And I decided then, I was like, you know what? I don't like getting yelled at over pizza. I don't like getting yelled at over food. Like, say if I'm a firefighter and I did something that maybe risked my life or the lives of others, it's like, yeah, I fucked up. I'm glad you yelled at me, and I hope I learn from this.
Yeah.
But if I get yelled at because I didn't pop enough bubbles or fucking put enough pepperonis on a pizza, kiss my ass. Like, fuck that. Like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of that? Like, for me, I realized I need a little bit of importance if somebody's gonna be able to yell at me. If somebody's gonna yell at me over a freaking pizza, or give me shit over I don't know what, then it better mean something, because there's only so much shit you can take over a pizza. So I don't think I think I worked one more time in fast food, and it was because I worked in a small city. So it was like jobs were limited, and I was like, you know what, I might try this place. I might try to be like a baker for them. And you know, that was its own thing, but it was like, man, like I think I'm done. As long as it's working for other people, I'm done working in the food industry. Like I love to cook, man. We already covered this. I love to grill it up, and I love cooking eggs.
Yeah.
Like I love throwing stuff in it and grilling stuff in butter and whipping up some eggs, but I'd rather be my own boss. I'd rather make my own, you know, menu and have my own clientele. Like I'm done working in the food industry. So I mean, for some people that might be a great thing. I'm over it. I'm good. Never again is what I'll say.
Sometimes I have I don't know if it's an itch or if it's just something I think would be interesting, but I always wanted to be like a host or a waiter.
A host or a waiter?
I think I can handle that job. I think that's a good job for me.
Have you ever done it?
Nah. I've never done it.
I bet there's waiters out there like, man, fuck this guy.
But you know, I'm just kind of reflecting back on my last job, because I mean, there are times when I look back and like, I remember we used to do this, and or you know, you think back on the job you're no longer at, and there's still things that you did there that you enjoyed, or maybe I think you mentioned it earlier about kind of changing things up and
yeah, and
having a different. Maybe it's not something different, but like at my last job, you know, on I don't even know if they're gonna have it this year.
What's that?
But like before COVID, they had the Winter Night Extravaganza. It was like a light parade.
Oh yeah.
They have it in the evening, and our program never had their own slide. They always did things with education department. Like education department would all just kind of make a float just for all of the departments under education. But,
wow.
When I was there, I was like, well, we should do our own, you know, because they would have a theme every year, and you know, they would sort of have a guideline. I mean, I remember one year it was superheroes, and the other one was games. So there was always like, it was a challenge. It was a different. It wasn't the same thing every year, but like I was always the first one to be like, we're entering a float this year, you know, like, and then finding out who else is like into that, because it's like, that's another thing too, is like some things you don't have to do, like, but they're kind of, maybe they're a part of morale, maybe they're I don't know, they're just like, it's not required for everybody to do. So me kind of like always being excited about it, I was like, well, who else wants to do this? Because
who's coming with me?
It was always, it was like, we gotta get a flatbed, we gotta get a generator. Like, what are we gonna do? I think I must have did like 3 of them on our own. So like, that was an annual thing for a little bit that I would like get excited about. Oh shit, we're making the float, you know.
How do I not know this?
I don't know. Where have we been?
Out of my mind and out of sight, man.
It's been a minute, man. I mean,
I've been off the res for a long time.
But this has to have been like maybe about 8 years ago, maybe, or 6 years ago. But yeah, it was again, that's not something we do at my other job now.
Yeah, how crazy is that? The res is weird, man. It's just weird. It's different, like on so many levels, and that's one of them. Like, hey, we're definitely doing a float. Like this is work. You weren't getting paid, right? This is all like extracurricular. Pretty
much. I mean, yeah. I mean, like, I think we were getting paid, but it was like, you know, like it's after hours. It's a lot. I guess it's other work that's not your initial responsibility.
Huh.
But it's still kind of, to me, it's still a big part of it because the kids really enjoy it. The community comes out. And even you think about it in a parade perspective, it's like we're adding to the show. So it's like, we're contributing. So even though it wasn't like the job, like it was still, to me, it felt a big part of the job.
Huh. That's something else, man. That I would not have expected that, and that does sound like a good outlet. Was it just the light parade you guys would put in on, or would you also hit like rodeo too?
I think a few times we did rodeo, but I was always like, I'll do the light parade.
That's kind of my thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's where all my energy's going. So you guys can take the other one.
Huh.
Yeah. That's I think too that's kind of like public. You're out in the public.
Yeah. Is that customer outreach or community outreach? Would you say?
I think so.
Like just participating in the community in something that people show up for.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, like, 'cause they see your float. I think we even won an award one year.
Nice.
I think awesome. Maybe we stuck with the theme or something, or I can't remember what the award was in, but like the community sees that, they say, "Oh wow, hey, this program did a float," or you do a really good float, and they don't even know about the program, and now they do because.
Cool.
So I mean, it is outreach.
Wow, I like that. Huh. I'll say this right now. I hope the coming year opens back up, and I want to try to participate in as much as I can. Like, even if it's just showing up, I'd like to be out there and see some faces that I know. Maybe I don't know. Sometimes I avoid it because I don't want to see people. But like I'm back down here. I want to see who's out here. Like this is you're making me look forward to that. Like you said, it's winter. I doubt we're gonna do it, but man, if we do, I'm gonna show up. Some kind of light up something on me.
Nice.
Oh yeah. You let me know if something pops up. You let me know if it's coming. I'll keep an ear out.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, like when I left the job, I kind of stopped caring about it. Kind of sad, but like It fell off my radar. Like it wasn't a perk.
You guys lost a good one. Remember the Titans.
I remember one year we did a Mario Bros.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool.
But
so yeah, I don't know where we're at on time.
We're like an hour and 40 in. I could either call it now, or I'm trying to think of another theme right now that we could follow down. Like I kind of liked Shitty Job. I liked Turning Points. I'm trying to think like just a commonality that we might all have at our jobs. And I think the last thing we could really talk about is the money now. You know, like. I don't.
Show me the money.
I love having income when you know it's coming. You know what I mean? Like it's like shit, no money, I'm broke. Broke is a joke, son. But then it's like Friday's coming. This is pay week. We're getting paid this week. Like, or sometimes I forget. You know, I'm so distracted with other stuff, and then I kind of look around, ask my fellow employees, is like, wait a minute, are we getting paid this week? And then like, hell yeah, it's like, oh, all right. They just brought me back into the fold here because they're paying me. They got to pay me, boy.
No, I'm kind of. I always remember one of my tutors saying he never looked at his check. He just pretty much handed it over to his wife.
Oh God! What a great person.
But it was almost kind of like, you take care of the financials. I'm just happy to be here with you. I remember the times where, waiting on a check to deposit. Yeah. That's always been the hard times. I remember some of those jobs where, you're just waiting for it to pop in.
Yeah. I prefer direct deposit, man. That's I think that's the way to go.
I'm trying
Come on.
The community. Did you work for your community?
Yeah. As a summer worker, like a youth worker.
Yeah.
You know what? And for my neighbor. He's a cattleman out here, and I worked for him too. That felt like I was working for the community. Why do you ask?
Because I think that was like my first time like earning a paycheck was through working for the community.
Fuck, was it?
But I guess like those jobs, because I also like remember doing construction with one of my uncles, and like sometimes he would pay me like right after we were done with the job. Those jobs are always fun. Like,
that's kind of nice.
You see the money right after you do the work, which is I don't know what's the difference between that kind of job and then a job where you check.
I used to make tips as a valet driver in like my first year of college, maybe second year. I didn't work at all my first year. It was like the second or third year. It's hard to say because I think of school in like terms of semesters. I want to say the second year I got a job, and that was really nice. Like you didn't always get a lot of tips. Like, you know, some people just don't want to tip. Sometimes you work with assholes and you get even less. Sometimes you got somebody who's really a, you know, kick-ass worker. They work, you work, you get them tips. Or like maybe the season, like gem show season, we'd be freaking packed and just walking home with $50, $60, maybe $100 in tips. And that was like everybody got to throw into the bowl. You know, you all put them together and then it gets divided up. That's why it would suck if somebody wasn't, you know, carrying their weight, but because then they get the same amount. But there was something about walking home with some cash in your pocket every night. Even if it wasn't much, it's like, damn it, I'm gonna go get a burrito and a beer right now. Like, this is this is what I'm gonna do right now. I like that. Like, I think my next question for you was do you feel any way about getting paid every week or getting paid bi-weekly?
You know, I've been really weird lately because I think because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is where I'm sometimes I'm confused on if it's paid a week or if it's not paid a week. Like when you say like making sure, but like I guess as long as I'm doing my job, I'm okay. But I'm not always aware of when it's pay week.
Yeah.
I guess I'm always working like I have to work for pay week to come versus it's here and I know it's gonna give me this much.
Yeah.
Almost kind of being surprised that it came.
Yeah. Like, oh shit, I have money.
But I always saw it as like getting half of what you would have got. Because I did have a few jobs where I got paid every week, and I just saw that. Well, only because it would be a lot smaller than the paycheck.
Yeah, I guess so.
You're getting two, but I would always, well, this is just half of what I would have got if I was getting paid like normal.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you wouldn't have a full week, or maybe you got off early, or there was a slow week and they didn't give you that many hours. Your check will be really small.
Ugh.
So
that sucks. It's a shitty check. That fucking sucks. like oh, payday, baby. You look at it and like, oh yeah, I called in that day. Or this ain't enough. Make it enough. I was always too tempted to spend the money. Like when I got it every week, I loved knowing every Friday was payday. There was even if I blew it, you know, I was like, man, yeah, like Friday's coming, I'm getting paid. You know, but it was like sometimes you spent just a little bit too much knowing that another check was coming. You know, you just spend just a little too much, and then like a bill comes, and then you're like, yeah, I just screwed myself. Spent a little too much at Zia's, or I don't know, you know. Yeah. I just blew all my beer money. You know, like it's gone. It's over. I'm going stag for a while. Like this, I screwed up. I didn't calculate something right, or a bill dropped. Like automatic withdrawal. You know, it's like, oh, I screwed up. Or like that. Like that was a big thing. You took a vacation or something, or you know, you had to call in. You got sick, and you weren't even thinking about it. But like maybe I think my past couple jobs, it was kind of staggered where you start the first week and then you do your 2 weeks and you get paid or something like that, where it's like when you start getting paid, it's from the week previous. It's not like the work you just did, so you'll be you'll be busting ass. You're like, this is gonna be a fat check, baby, and then you're like, oh, this was last week's paycheck, and I didn't do too well, you know?
Yeah, or you started the job in the middle of the pay period. So
yeah,
kind of like behind.
Yeah, it's just like, God damn it. Yeah, the last job I had, they were always funny about it. Like, they would all the time they'd be like, hey guys, we're not playing right now. We're not playing. We're low on hours. We're sending people home already. Like, you got to stick to your hours. If your shift ends at 8, you better be out of here. Like, you better be clocking out 7:55. Like, we don't want any overtime right now, guys. And I'd be like, okay, like, all right, I won't do as good a job then, or so. You know, it was like, I don't ever not do that. But what I'm saying is, there be times where people they need help. They're not done. Another department's not done. It's like, all right, I could stay, and they're like, nah, get out of here. Go, get out of here. And then there was other times where they'd be saying that, hey, no hours, guys, no overtime. And then my boss would kind of pull me aside. I'm like, hey, you want to do some overtime? I'm like, yeah, pay me, boy. Like, let's throw it in there. I'll do it. Yeah, I'm willing to work. And then there was other times where I was like, I was watching the clock. Like, I couldn't wait to get the hell out of there.
Counting the hours, yeah.
Yeah, like, when this clock hits, man, I'm running from here and I'm getting out of here. Devil may care what my paycheck looks like when I get home. Like, screw it. I don't want to be here right now. Like, it's gone both ways there.
I'm thinking now, like, there's been maybe it depends on who you're working with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, like, if you have a good connection or even that too, where, I mean, for me right now, I pop in and out. I'm in the office, but I'm also driving around. So, I mean, I didn't see it like that until I'm pointing it out now. But I enjoy that, being able to go out and then still having a place to tap into.
Yeah.
Jobs. What about jobs that you never got, that you applied for, or that you interviewed for?
I got every job that I applied for.
Oh, damn.
No, I'm kidding. It was like that when I was younger. Now it's like, whoops, I didn't get that. I'm so pissed about the res. Like, this 1 year, I think it was when I became a firefighter, I applied again and again and again, like, and I would rewrite my resume so it fit that job, you know, my little job description kind of thing, like what I'm capable of, little explainer, like the little paragraph you write, like, this is why I'm good for this job. I had to rewrite that, and like I applied for like 10 places, and I think I got my answers like 6 months later. A year later, yeah, you didn't get the job. I'm like, gee, thanks, guys. Thanks for putting a rush on that, guys. You know, like there was a year where things got tight. Like I think later on I got in trouble because I tried to get paid and 2 people tried to pay me. And I didn't care who paid me. I just wanted to get paid. Like, somebody needs to pay me. I did the work. Like, somebody needs to pay me, guys. And I got in trouble. They got mad at me like I was trying to pull a fast one. But what it really was I was like, all right, you promised to pay me, never paid me. This guy came around, said he's going to pay me, or told me I couldn't be paid, and then out of the blue, he showed up and was like, hey, I can get you paid. I'm like, great, pay me, somebody pay me, please. And then one day I got pulled aside and they're like, hey, did you write this paper saying you didn't get paid? I was like, yeah. And then like, yeah, well, what about this guy? Did you tell him you'd get paid? I was like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, well, it turns out they showed up the same day, same week, you know, requesting money to pay you for the same thing. I was like, whoops, you know, like, it just happened, it just worked out that way. I don't want to get paid. So yeah, like, not getting hired is pretty freaking shitty. You know what I mean? That's a burn. Especially when, like, you shake hands, you smile, and I think one of my worst defeats when I was a kid was I was trying to go apply for a job at Raytheon, and that was like a summer program. And I just fucking choked in the interview. They asked me how I would organize a program if I had people working for me. And they asked, like, how would you plan the project and how would you execute it? And I was like, oh, yeah, you know, just talk it out of my ass. And at some point, I just went, and they're just kind of looking at me like down their glasses, like tapping their pencil on the thing, like, all right, you can stop now, sir. Put a blanket on this guy. Put a blanket on this guy. I think he's about to break. Just stop, sir. Just step outside. We'll call you. We'll call you. All right. If anything opens up, we'll call you. Yeah. That was a bad one. I walked out and I felt like shit. Like there's been times where I walked out with my head high, like, yeah, I just kicked ass, and then didn't get the job. So what about you?
Well, I think my biggest disappointment was Target.
Really?
I made the interview.
You're not Target material?
Apparently not, man.
Yeah, what happened?
I don't look good in red.
Yeah. Oh, look at this guy's legs. Like, he can't wear the fucking vest. He can't wear our khaki pants.
My tan skin will not match the khaki.
Obviously.
Obviously. I don't know what it was. I think it was maybe because I didn't have reliable transportation because I was in the city, and it was a couple blocks from where I was living, but like, I mean, that was I guess a technicality that went against me, but
yeah,
maybe I did horrible in the interview, but like, I think like you're saying, like, you know, you had a lot of good luck when you were younger getting jobs, and
yeah,
and then suddenly there's a bigger pool. Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe
other candidates that, you know, had reliable transportation. Sometimes
I wonder if a company wants a young person so that they can kind of pay them as little as possible. Sometimes I don't know. You always come up with a scenario in your head like, oh, this is why they didn't. Well, fuck them. They didn't deserve me. You know, like you know, you say all these things to yourself, build yourself up, like I'm no spring chicken.
Well, let me. It's not off topic, but it kind of is. But there's a song called "Boiled Frogs" by Alexis on Fire, and it's this concept of someone that holds a job for a long period of time, and then like right before they're gonna retire, they get fired. They get let go, and so they're kind of robbed of all these benefits, and I don't know if the analogy is they're just kind of boiled frogs, like they're just kind of, pretty much just there's a demise, and you get old and you're no longer needed for the job because there's someone else younger that can do it.
That happens all the time.
That's kind of. I mean, I don't know why I brought it up, but I knew it was like, I guess the job. I don't know, like I didn't.
Well, you know the analogy of the frogs, right? Like we don't gotta go over it.
They jump in and their body gets used to the temperature, right?
Kinda.
And they just kind of sit.
Okay, alright, here we go.
Explain it.
You can't just boil a frog. Alright, so the idea is if you take a frog and you throw him into a pot of boiling water, he's going to jump out in 2 seconds. And then the alternative is the only way you can boil a frog is if you put him in water and raise the temperature slowly, and the frog will just sit there until it boils to death. Now, I don't know if somebody's actually gone through and tested this, but it's an analogy, and I hear it usually used in like an apocalypse kind of scenario, or like when people are describing what the government is doing. It's like if they were to just take away gun rights altogether, we'd all hop out of the boiling pot. Be like, screw that, we're not doing it. But if they take little liberties away, just little tiny things that we're like, oh, well, okay, that's reasonable. And then, oh, yeah, okay, we can do that. And then next thing we know, we have no rights. That's what the analogy kind of applies to, is like, if you do something big and shocking right away, it's not going to go well. But if you do it slowly and let people get used to it, and then the people will let the government do whatever the hell they want. Now, how that pertains to firing somebody right before they get their benefits, I don't know. But that's a sad scenario. I think I've had it almost happen to my uncle. Like a lot of my family in Ohio, they worked for General Motors and like GM and all that. Well, that's what General Motors is. They worked for the big vehicle companies, and then I think they went to like shut down or maybe automate a factory, and a whole slew of people got just laid off, is what they call it. Let go. And I think he lucked out, like he wasn't going to get anything, and then he lucked out and got like a bit of a severance package. Or at least the uncle I'm thinking about, and like he got out, he got out, but it was like they definitely kind of screwed him. They didn't get everything he was supposed to get. When people go to big jobs like that, they sign something saying, you work for us forever, we'll take care of you in the end. And then, sometimes when shit goes wrong, a company will just, cut ties and run off, leave people hanging in the wind.
Yeah. Well, I guess it can happen on both ends,
Yeah.
The employee leaves, or the employee can just leave you.
Interesting. You ever experienced something like that on either end?
I want to say yeah, but like I think even now with the I mean, I can't talk for everybody, but like the vaccine, like I think that's going to affect people's jobs. Like, you're hearing it now, even in sports. Like,
yeah, that shit's crazy.
It's kind of the new deal breaker, you know, for certain people that have those jobs where, I think it's like how they're appearing to the public, you know, how they want to be perceived versus, I guess, a corporate look versus a bunch of individuals that are all different and have their own beliefs. Like, so, I mean, I don't think anything like that has ever happened, but I think, I mean, even when I worked at UPS, like, that job was, like, it felt good to be working there and to know the prestige.
The prestige.
Because of their benefits. They were, like, even when they were, like, one of the top jobs to be working at because their benefits were so, there was, like, I remember there was, like, ASU instructors working, like, overnight because the benefits. They were making so much, they were doing so well, and
wow.
I mean, they got, I guess, what they provided for their family with the insurance is that they, I mean,
wow, yeah.
So I mean, in that aspect, like, but I was young at the time, so like, I didn't really use my insurance. Like, I don't know if it was just a native thing or it was just like, I was just healthy and I never used. I think maybe once I did when I went swimming, or I went to the ocean and I got like swimmer's ear and I went to the emergency room and insurance. But like, other than that, so like, looking back now, like, oh man, that would have been it is a good job to have because you can add all your beneficiaries. But then again, I don't have any kids, so I didn't work out. I mean, it wasn't a big perk.
Yeah.
I mean, at least at the time in my mind frame now. But, but like, having to walk away from that too, like, I was also like, damn, I know I don't use my insurance, but it felt good knowing I had it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, that was always something where, like, it felt like they were really taking care of you. So, for me to kind of leave that, I was like, oh, well, what's the next place can take care of me, you know, or, I don't know, that's a whole different, because, like, even now, like, it feels like I don't pay attention to that, to the insurance. I should, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, just give me whatever. That sounds horrible, but
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Again, man, the res is weird. I grew up not knowing I needed insurance because of the res. Like, it was like, all right, I go to the hospital and they take care of me. Nobody's ever said, hey, where's your card? Where's this or that? I wasn't even grateful for it because I wasn't aware of it. I just thought that's how it worked. And until I went into the big city, you know, and then I was questioned, and I was like, I don't even know, and I was accused of trying to fuck with the person who asked, you know, what are you messing with me? Like, get the hell out of here. Like, I was like, wait a minute, what's the rush here? Like, just go. I don't got time to mess with you. They asked if I had insurance. I was like, I don't know. They're just like, get out of here. Like, all right. Yeah, what I didn't like is my last job, they had like employer's insurance, and it was horrible. Like with my son being born around the time we were doing that, it was like I was like, I'd love to insure him so that he could go to the kind of doctor we want him to go to. And damn, when I really looked into it, I was like, can I just insure my son? And they're like, no, it has to be you and your son. So I was like, all right, well, how much is that? And I started like going through the numbers, and they would have taken like one of my paychecks. And I was like, Jesus, guys, like, you wanted me to be healthy, but then you're gonna pay me half my money? Like, that doesn't seem like a deal at all. And I thought the whole idea was to have like a deal because you're going through your company. So
damn,
I'm kind of jealous in that aspect of maybe the benefits you were getting at UPS.
Yeah, I mean, it's like add all your kids you want to add. I mean, your kids. But yeah, I just knew it was like a lot of people talked about like how their families were taken care of because, you know, they had that insurance. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's different things you get out of the job, too.
Yeah. I couldn't help but think, like, all right, say I get my kids' insurance and I don't use it because we're okay, we're healthy, we're eating well. But I get the insurance, and then suddenly we're not eating so well. Now all of a sudden our health will be affected because I can't afford, you know, expensive food. It just seemed very counterintuitive, and I didn't like that at all. I was like, I don't know, it made no sense. I think this whole entire country's healthcare system is fucked up. It just doesn't really favor anybody who actually needs it. That's messed up. All right. So, any last words on work? Because I think I'm ready to get out of here.
I always wanted to work at Foot Locker, too.
All right. Okay. I just gotta ask why. Like. Why is that your last comment?
Because I think I can do a good job. I think I can be a good customer service
rep. Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe not sell a lot of shoes, but make the customer feel present in the store. I think I just got a beef with Foot Locker.
Why? Did you apply? Did you apply and not get that job?
Nah, I never applied, but like I go in there and I don't feel taken care of. But like I want to go in there and look at the stuff. So it's like
so it's a matter of knowing you could do better than what they're doing.
I guess so. But I mean, it should be a good experience.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting, dude. I didn't expect you to say that.
So, you know, I don't know what life's going to throw at me, and I don't know what other jobs are going to come my way, but
yeah,
yeah. I mean, jobs is I think we're always going to have to find something to do.
Yeah.
So enjoy your job to some degree, I guess.
Yeah. I'll say that whether you're working for yourself or working for others, try to look for your perks, like we mentioned. Try to find some way to mix it up from time to time so that the job doesn't get stagnant. Move that cheese, as we've said before, and get paid, baby. Get pay your bills, take care of your kids, have a little fun. It's a little going out money, and if at all possible, work for your damn self, because I think that's the way to go. It takes a lot more work, like that lady out there in the parking lot selling her hot dogs, but I imagine she likes having some sun and the outdoors, and having all these like construction workers come over and fawn all over her. I don't know what it is. Like she's there all the time, and she's hustling. When I see something like that, I know someone's hustling. So so get out there and hustle, guys. Like get your money, and maybe at the same time get your dreams. It's not what?
Is it a burrito lady or a hot dog lady?
I want to say hot dog. It's at the Home Depot on like Broadway and Kolb, Broadway and Pantano. It's way out there. Hot dog lady though, for sure.
Okay. Well,
she probably doesn't want to be called a hot dog lady.
No, but
wiener lady maybe. I don't know. Okay, thanks for listening, everybody. I'll be enjoying some aspect of this. I actually got some good laughs. This guy's a character. He's a character. I never know what the hell you're gonna say, man. So I do enjoy having you as a co-host on here. It works.
All right. Well.
All right.
Back at it. Comment.
Yeah. Comment, subscribe,
feedback,
follow.
Yeah, I'll do all that.
I love me some comments. I'll definitely get on there and like them, and maybe even answer back if it's something I'll answer to. Yeah,
message us, hit us up, or
any kind of subjects you want to hear. Anything, hit us up. We're open to comments and suggestions.
Feedback.
All right. We good?
Peace out.
Peace out, everybody. Take care.